Hello viewers, welcome to this course where we are going to learn how to build RESTful API with Node.js, Express and SQLite. I'm so excited to have you here. If you have ever been curious about what to make the app on your phone work or how websites remember your information, a lot of that magic happens because of something called an API. It is the behind the scenes engine of the internet, and that is exactly what we are going to build together in this course, a real functional API. Now, maybe you are a front-end developer who want to finally understand the full picture, or maybe you are a completely new to backend development and aren't sure where to start. Wherever you are coming from, you are in the right place. We are going to take things step by step. We will start with the absolute basics, answering questions like what is REST API and why do we use Node.js. Then we will roll up our sleeve and start building. We will use Node.js and Express to create our server. We will use SQLite as a database to store our data. And we won't just stop once the code works on our computer. The best part, we are going to take the API we build and deploy it to a live server on the internet. That means by the end of this course, you will have a live URL that anyone can access. This is a hands-on project-based course. You will learn by doing. I have designed it to be practical and to the point, so you can start using this skill right away. So if you are ready to building and deploying your own professional API, let's get started. Alright, what is this course about? This course is all about building and deploying a REST API. The goal of this course is going to be building a real functional blog post API from scratch. Okay, so we're going to learn how to build a real functional blog post API from scratch. And the stack we are going to use is Node.js, Express, and SQLite. There are powerful in-demand technologies trending right now. And the structure of our project is going to be MVC pattern approach. That means we are going to make use of MVC pattern. The final, that is at the end of this course, we are going to deploy an API to a live server so the world can use it. That is exactly what this course is all about. Who is this course for? This course is for aspiring backend developers looking to add a fundamental skill to their toolkit. It's also for front-end developers who want to understand the full stack and build their own APIs. It is also for bootcamp students or self-taught programmers seeking a practical project-based guide to Node.js and Express, or anyone who wants to learn how to build, structure, and deploy a real-world REST API. What should you know before embarking on this course? The minimal requirement for you to actually follow along in this course is modern JavaScript. You should understand the modern JavaScript feature like async await, promises. We will be making use of sync await and promises a lot in this course. Arrow functions is also advisable. Classes, array method, callback, template literals. You should also be familiar with the array destructuring and object destructuring. Okay, so with these familiarities, you are going to follow along in this course. Okay, even if you don't know all these features, I will try as much as possible to explain them as we go in this course. Then you should also be familiar with import and export, that the ES module import and export, because we will be making use of common JS in our course. Okay, it is not required that you know SQL command to embark on this course. I will try as much as possible to explain every line of code related to structured query language. That is the full meaning of SQL, SQL. So structure query language, it is used to query a relational database management system. Okay, so it is not required that you know it. You are going to learn along in this course how to use the structure query language. Okay, at least the basic one, you should be able to understand it in this course. Okay, what you will learn and build in this course, you are going to master the fundamentals, understand REST principles, HTTP method and API design, build array project, create a fully functional blog post API from the ground up. Database skills, just like I mentioned earlier, you are going to learn basic SQL query language. We are going to make use of SQLite and raw SQL to perform all CRUD operations. As a result, you are going to learn basic structure query language in this course. Professional structure, you are going to learn how to structure your project to use MVC pattern, which make it scalable, readable, and also presentable. From development to deployment, you are going to learn how to deploy your API to a live server at the end of the course, so that the whole world can be able to access your project or API. Hello viewers, welcome back to this course. To get most out of this course, you need some resources. For you to access the resources of this course, you need to go to the GitHub repo, where you are going to have access to the completed version of this project. So if you want to see the Git repo, this is the link, guys. I'm gonna copy it. So if I go to this link, let me just paste it here. Okay, this is the Git repo, guys. Here you are going to access the completed version of this course, guys, which you can clone it, and from here you can also follow along. If you want to clone it, you can just click here and clone it, or you can just download it. You can clone it or download it into your system, and you can have the completed version of this project. You can also follow the instruction under documentation. If you want to follow along, you need to click on this documentation. You click on the documentation, you are going to see the documentation here. Though this is not complete documentation, but this is the basic documentation that will get you started with this course. You can access the live demo of this project, that is the completed live demo. So if I click on this link now, let me just click on it. This is the live demo of what we are going to build. You can see we have all the posts. You can test this endpoint using your browser or Postman to get all the posts. If you want to perform CRUD operation, you can use Postman to add a new post, delete post, and also update post. I've already shown you the Git repo. Okay, if you want to clone it, you can use this command, git clone, and it will be cloned into your system. You can also access the direct code by visiting any of the files or folders we are going to work with. Okay, if you want to access the code for app.js, you can just click on it and access the code. If you want to access the code for utils, you can just visit it. You can get the code here. Okay, or you can work with me step by step if you want to actually follow along. Each time we create a new section where you can follow along from the file we have here. If you want to get the completed version, you can just clone this repo and get started with it. I hope this resources is going to help you in this course, guys. See you in the next section. Alright guys, let me quickly demonstrate what we are going to build in this course. I'm going to launch Postman. I have Postman launched. So I'm going to click on this plus to add a new request URL. I have my endpoint already. You can see it is a live URL. So I'm going to make a GET request to this URL. Make a GET request. Okay, you can see I have some JSON file that is returned. The JSON data is the list of posts. our post is going to have an ID, title, content, author, category, future image URL, created art and updated art. Okay, we're going to include it. So you are going to learn how to design all these things and store it in a database. Currently, we have 3 posts. Okay, if you want to get posts by ID, what you need to do, you go to pass the ID into the URL. Okay, it's known as param. Then if I pass /1 here, that means I am requesting to get a post of ID 1. If I make a send request now, you can see it return the post with the ID of 1. Okay, so if I want to get all the posts, I can just make direct request to this URL without passing any ID, and it is going to return all the posts. Currently, I have 3 posts. What if you want to add a post? You need to do a post request. So you need to select post request. And when you are making a post request, you need to enter the body of the post. That is the data you want to post. So let me quickly go to the body. Here, I'm going to select the raw. That means I want to send a raw JSON file. So I need to change this into JSON. And from here, this is where I'm going to type a JSON data, and it will have to be in this pattern. Our API has been designed to accept title, content, and the author as compulsory, but these ones are optional. The created art will be added automatically, and the updated art will also be added automatically. So the future image is going to be null by default because is not going to be compulsory, and category also is going to be optional. These 3 things must be added: title, content, and the author. In the JSON file, this is how to enter a JSON file like this. You need to add title, enter the title of the post, title. So I'm going to add a post, so just like this. So this is a valid JSON file. You add the title, you have to close everything in quotation mark, okay, in quote like this, the title and also the value. Now the content is actually the content of your post, and the author is going to be James Smith. Now let me make a post request now to this same URL. I don't need to change it, but this time around I'm making a post request. Remember, we have 3 posts, so let me send it. Okay, you can see it returned the post that was created, and now it is returning the ID. The ID is 4. If I go to get request now and make another send request, you can see now I have 4 posts returned. You can see in the list of the data, I have 4 posts now, and the last one I added is also returned here. You can see it. So if I want to add another post, let me quickly add another one. So let me do another post request. Then this time around, I'm going to just paste it because I've already typed it. So you can see I have the title, I also have the content, I have the author, I also have the category. Okay, have post by category. Now if I make a send request, that is post request, and it is going to add another post, and this time around it will return the ID of 5. Okay, so let me go to get request now, do the same request, and now I'm having a list of 5 posts. And now if I can get each of the posts by ID, let me type 3 to get posts of ID 3, and here I have it. Okay, they return the post with the ID of 3. Let me change it to 5 and send it, and you see it return the post with ID of 5. So it also return the updated date and the created date. Now, what if I make a GET request to a post that doesn't exist? Okay, I only have 5 posts now. Let me say I make a GET request to 50. So there is no post with the ID of 50. If I may send this request now, it is going to return success false and the message is post not found. It also return appropriate status code of 404 that is not found. Okay, this time we are going to learn all these things. Okay, so it means that when you try to get the post that doesn't exist, it is going to return this message. If I go to slash post 1, now it will return this post. Okay, what if you visit the URL that doesn't exist in our server? What if I go to slash users? This URL doesn't exist in our server. If I make a GET request to this URL, you see it return success false and route not found, and also return 404 not found. Okay, that is the status code. Now let's do an update. To update our data, you use put request or patch request. But in this case, we are going to use put request. We are going to learn the difference later on. I select put. So when you are making a put request, you need to pass the data you want to actually update. Let me quickly make another GET request. I have 5 posts. You can see post number 4 does not have category. It is saying null. So what I'm going to do, let's update this post number 4. Okay, so I will just put the ID here, /4. I need to change it to put request. Okay, let me quickly grab this content like this. There is no category. Now let me change the category to cloud. I'm going to change the title to updated. Let me just add updated. I will also add the content updated so that you will see the difference. Updated like this. If I want to change the author, I can also change the author. But now I have changed the title, server cloud function updated. I also add category. Before there is no category. Now this time around I need to make a put request. So let me send it. Now it will return success. It will return the post that was updated, post with the ID of 4, and also the content that was updated. If I now do GET request to this post, so let me do GET request to /post number 4, then send it. Now it will return. You can see that it will return the post. Okay, you can see ID 4. You can see the title has changed to updated, and now the category is now added. Now if I make GET request to all the posts, let me make a GET request to all the posts. You can see the one with ID of 4. You can see the category is now added. You can see the updated title and the updated content. Now let us do a delete request. So when you want to do a delete request, you need to select delete. Then you need to pass the ID of the post you want to delete. So let me delete post with the ID of 5. Okay, so I need to pass 5 here. Let me click on send. You can see that it returns success true, post with ID of 5 deleted successfully. So it has done a delete request and deleted post of ID of 5. So let me get all the posts now. Get all the posts. Now you can see there is no post with ID of 5. Number 5 has been deleted. If I try to make a post request, okay, if I do not pass the title, let me just remove the title. If I remove the title and try to do a post request, you can see that it was not successful. This is because the title is required, and I'm just using a one message that enter the required fields. That means the title is required. Okay, if I add the title and try to post it without the author, it will return the same thing. It means that you need to pass all the required fields. Okay, so let me add the author. This time around, let me just add another post. Maybe the title should be a sample post. Then the content should be, this is a content of a sample post. Then let me change the author to do. Then the category. Then let me send it now. And it has added again. Now the new post is now having an ID of number 6. Okay, remember it's in database, the ID is added in a sequential order. So even though we have deleted post of number 5, but the number will increase in that order. Okay, so that is how the database work by default if you are using the default ID. So if I make a get request to all the posts, you can see post of ID 5 is not here, but we have the latest post we added sample post. Okay, the date and time will be auto created during the adding or updating of the post. So this is the project we are going to build. It will look very simple, but I'm assuring you that by the end of this course, you are going to learn a lot about API and MVC pattern, and a lot of things you are going to learn at the backend during the building of this project. Okay, thank you and see you in the next section. Okay, what is a REST API? API stands for Application Programming Interface. An API is a contract between the front end and back end that defines how they can talk to each other. REST stands for Representational State Transfer. It is just a set of rules or styles for how web API should be designed so they are easy to use, flexible, and consistent. So, a REST API is a way for different applications like your front-end website and a back-end server to talk to each other over the internet using those REST rules. A REST API usually uses HTTP, the same protocol your browser used to visit website. For example, when you visit a website, okay, I'm going to use our endpoint as example. When you make a request to this URL, you are sending a HTTP request to this URL. So you are requesting from the server that you need post that exists in this URL. Okay, you are going to make use of this route or URL to get the post that exists in the server. So if I send this request now, do you see it return the list of our posts? Okay, you are by default, your browser is making use of get request by default. That is the default method that your browser is using to get content from the server, making use of get request. Okay, it means that when you enter any URL in the browser, you are making a get request to that server. Okay, so for example, github.com, if you enter, you are actually making a get request to this URL. Okay, I'm making a get request to this URL. That is the default behavior of the browser. So it means that when you make a HTTP request to this URL, the backend, that is the server, respond with this data. Okay, it respond with this data. So those rules that are responsible for you to make a request and get response is known as REST API. It means that you need to follow some rules when you are designing your API so that when you make a request to the server and it is going to return the correct data you requested from. So you need to follow some rules to design your API so that when you make a request to the server and it is going to return the data you requested from. Okay, so those rules you need to follow is known as REST API. So that is the simplest way to explain it. You can learn more about REST API. I'm going to leave a link to the documentation of REST API so that you are going to learn more about it. Let me show you another illustration to understand how REST API work. Think of API like a waiter in a restaurant. You tell the waiter what you want. They take the order to the kitchen and bring back the food. You don't need to know how the kitchen works, just how to ask the waiter. Okay, let's assume you are a customer in a restaurant. Your own is to check the menu and go through what they have. Then you request through the waiter what you want. Now the waiter will take your order to the kitchen, so you don't need to know what is actually happening in the kitchen. You don't know how the food is being prepared. You don't want to know all the method of preparation, all those things. Okay, so the waiter now will take your order to the kitchen and return back with your order. And that is it. What you need to know as a customer is how to make a request. That is how REST API work, guys. Okay, so once you follow the appropriate rule, even you as a consumer of REST API or API data, you need to know how to make a request to that particular API, because the developer is going to give you some rules or some type of request that you need to follow or you need to make to be able to get the correct data. Okay, just like from our post you need to pass some data, title, content for you to be able to make a post request, and you need to know the URL to go to get your data. That is how request response work in client server communication. So when we start building our API, you are going to understand it better, guys. Thank you for watching this section. So why do we need to build REST API, guys? The benefits of RESTful architecture: standardization and consistency, a uniform, predictable way to interact with your data using well-known HTTP method. So we are going to learn all these HTTP methods. It is a standard and consistent way of interacting with your data using well-known HTTP methods, which we are going to learn in this course. Okay, it is a front-end agnostic. The same API can power a web app, a mobile app, that is iOS and Android application, even desktop application, okay, and other services simultaneously. When you build an API, it can power different applications regardless of the language you use to build that application. A single API can power different applications, okay, simultaneously. Mobile app, iOS, Android app can access the same API at the same time. Web app can access the same API, and other services can also access the same API at the same time. So performance and scalability: statelessness allows server to handle requests efficiently, making applications faster and easier to scale. Separation of concerns: clear separation between the client, that is the UI, and the server, the data and the logic. Teams can work independently. It means that API is totally independent from the client. It means that the client and the server are totally independent of each other, and teams can work independently as well, because some team may be working on the UI, that is the client, and the other teams working on the server, that is the API endpoint. Okay, so they can work independently, and both the client and the server, they are totally independent of each other. Okay, you can host them separately, so there is no interference between the client and the server. Now, platform and language independence as well. Now, client can be written in any language. You can use JavaScript, Python, Java, or any other programming language to write your client. As long as they can make HTTP requests, they can access your API. Whether you are developing in JavaScript, which is also part of what we are using, Python, where you are whether you are developing in Python, you are building a web app or desktop app or mobile app using Python or Java. So you can still access the same API that we are building, regardless of the language you choose to use to build your client side, that is the UI. Okay, so that is one good thing about building REST API, guys. Okay, so some of the benefit. There are many other benefits that are available. These are the few that I can be able to explain now. Okay, so stay tuned as we continue in the next section. Why do we choose Node.js and Express to build our REST API? JavaScript is everywhere. Use the same language, JavaScript, on both the front end and back end. Unify your development. If you're already a JavaScript developer, Node.js and Express, they are actually JavaScript. So you don't need to learn a separate language, guys. If you're already a JavaScript, whether you're a front-end developer or back-end developer, you're already using JavaScript. You can use it to build your back-end as well. You don't need to learn a separate language. But since you already know JavaScript, you can still make use of that opportunity to extend your development skill to build a back-end server, all right? Fast and efficient, Node.js is built on Chrome V8 engine. It is lightning fast and handles many simultaneous connections well. Okay, massive ecosystem, access to NPM package manager, that is NPM, the world's largest library of open source packages to add features quickly. Minimal and flexible. Express is lightweight, unopinionated framework. It provides just the tool you need without getting in your way. Industry standard, the go-to start for building modern scalable API and web applications. Okay, a highly valuable career skill. Be assured that you are learning a right skill, guys. Okay, so see you in the next session. Our data is going to be powered by SQLite database. Okay, and why SQLite? What it is? A powerful serverless database engine stored in a single file on your disk. SQLite is actually embedded into your machine. It's embedded into your server. It is embedded into your application, whether mobile application, whether your server application, whether your desktop application. Yes, it is embedded. It is always with you. Okay, so that is why we need to use SQLite. No setup required, guys. No setup required, unlike MySQL. Now, if we were to be making use of MySQL Postgres, we need to set up a separate server. We need to set up a SQL server, Postgres server, MongoDB server if we are going to make use of MongoDB. And most of these things, they work free of charge in development, yeah, that it can run on your local machine. But when you deploy it, you need to pay a huge amount of money for the hosting of the database servers. As a result, there is no server to install or configure. It just works. SQLite does not need a separate server for it to work. So it just work like that, guys. Okay, that is why I decide to use SQLite and also introduce it to you, because it is going to save you a lot of money if you are building a small project. Even a large project, can make use of SQLite as well. Zero configuration, perfect for learning. If you're a learner, you don't need to go through setting MySQL, Postgres, and any other database. Then it is perfect for you to learn SQL query language, guys. Okay, just like I say, you are going to learn a SQL query language in this course, so it is also perfect for learning. So let us focus on SQL and API concept without complex database management. Okay, so it is one of the reasons why I decided to use SQLite. Once you learn SQLite, I'm telling you, you are going to work with MySQL and Postgres, okay? And other relational database management system. You are going to work with them. It is surprisingly powerful, guys. SQLite is surprisingly powerful. Despite its simplicity, it is going to be very simple when we start working with it, but it is very powerful as well. It supports most standard SQL features and can handle production level traffic for many apps. What you should know is that most of the mobile applications that run on your Android and the iOS devices or desktop and Mac devices, they are powered by SQLite. Most of them are powered by SQLite database, especially those applications that work offline, guys. Most of them are powered by SQLite, okay? So what you are learning is going to take you to the next level of building even mobile application, desktop application, web application, server application, just the way we are going to be building in this course, okay? It is ideal for this course, removes a major hurdle, allowing us to go from code to working API as fast as possible. Just from the code, we can deploy a working API, guys, without needing to set a separate database. So it is very ideal for this course, okay? So thank you for watching. In the next session, we are going to learn more and continue with our project. Let's get your machine ready for development. We will be using these free tools. The first tools we have here is Visual Studio Code, VS Code. It's a free code editor, okay? You can also download it from this URL. You also need Node.js and NPM, JavaScript Runtime and Package Manager. So the NPM will be installed along with Node.js when you install Node.js. You can download Node.js from the official website from this link. For the testing of our API, we will be using Thunder Client or Postman. Okay, if you want to download the Postman, you can actually download it from this URL. Thunder Client is a VS Code extension that you can install in VS Code. Okay, I will show you how to install Thunder Client later. We will be using DB browser for SQLite. It is a visual tool to view our database. In case if you want to preview the data of our SQLite database, you can use the DB browser for SQLite to actually view the data. And finally, we are going to use Git. Okay, so since we are going to deploy our application, we will be using Git for version control and for deployment. Okay, so you can also download it from this URL. Let me quickly show you in the browser where you can actually get all these tools. Okay, I have a browser here. So this is a website to download VS Code. Okay, so you can just go and download for your platform. Then you can also go to this place and download the latest version of Node.js. If you are using Windows, you can select the Windows installer. Okay, then from this link you can download the DB browser. So for your operating system, you can also download for your architecture here. Then if you need to use Postman for testing, then you can download Postman from this link for your platform as well. And Git, you can also download the Git desktop version and install it. Just follow the step-by-step instruction to install the Git using the default setting. Okay, so once you downloaded and install all these tools, you are ready to start developing. In the next session, we are going to start creating our project. Thank you for watching. Hello viewers, welcome back to this course. We are going to start our project now, but before we start, if you want to see the completed version of this project, you can visit this link here. I have already included documentation that will enable you to follow along in this course. Okay, let me just visit this GitHub repo so that you will see what I have there. Okay, I just open it in a browser. This is the completed version. If you want to run it on your local server, you can actually clone this repo to see the completed version. My major interest now is to you click on documentation. Okay, just click on documentation. So you are going to see the documentation. From here you can download all the required software that I have already showed you earlier. You can just go direct from here and download it. We are going to use some of this configuration that I have already set up for you here, especially the database section, so that it will make our work easier instead of writing everything from scratch, including the database schema and some other things that I have already included. Okay, let me minimize this. Okay, let me go to the desktop. Okay, on my desktop here, I'm going to create a new folder. May create a new folder. My folder name is Node.js Express SQLite API. You can give your own any name. Okay, you can see it is absolutely empty folder now. Let me open VS Code. Okay, I just open the VS Code. Let me just resize it and drag the folder that I created, the empty folder, just drag it into VS Code like this. Okay, you can see just an empty folder. Can maximize it. Here you are going to see terminal here. You need to open the terminal by clicking here. If you are not seeing this option here, you can see this thing here, control batik. That is to open the terminal. Okay, so I'm going to press control batik just like this, and the terminal has opened. Okay, let us check the node and npm version to make sure that all things are set up for our project. Okay, to check the node version, you type node-v like this. Okay, you can see the node version that I'm running is version 22.14. Okay, if you want to check the npm, you can also type npm-v like this. Okay, so as of the time of doing this recording, you can see it is 10.9.2. that is the npm version. Yeah, you are all set, guys. So to initialize a project, what you need to do, the first thing we need to do is to create the package.json. And to do that, you need to just initialize the project using npm. Okay, so it will be automatically created. So what we are going to do is you type npm init -y. The npm is node package manager. So the init command here is going to initialize the package.json. Okay, that is going to create it. The -y flag here is going to skip all the questions you need to answer while creating package.json. It is going to just use the default setting of the npm. So I'm going to press enter. Okay, you can see a package.json has been created. Okay, so this, you must have this file before running any other command. Now it is time to install our dependencies. Let me open this. These are the dependencies we are going to be installing. So we are going to install Express SQLite. SQLite enables us to work with the database, but we are going to install version 3. The course is a middleware that enables us to access our API from different domains. The .env is going to enable us to actually set up environment variable. Okay, so you can set some API key in the .env file. So I'm going to copy this command npm install. So it will install Express SQLite course and .env. So let's go to the terminal. Let me paste it. Command and press enter. So it is going to install these things, guys. Alright, guys, you can see the dependencies has been installed. If you look at dependencies here, you can see we have the course.env Express. Okay, so Express 5.1 and SQLite 5.1.7 as of the time of making this very record. The .env enables us to access the environment variable from our app. Okay, the next thing we need to install is the nodemon. Let me go to our documentation. Okay, here. So the nodemon actually enables us to run our server, and each time we make a change, it is going to restart the server. Okay, so it's actually keep the server running while we are developing. The command to install it is npm install nodemon. So -d here means that install it as dev dependency. That means we don't need it in production. We only need it during development. Okay, so I'm going to copy this command, go to the terminal, going to paste it and press enter. Alright guys, it has finished installing. As you can see from the package.json we have these dev dependencies, and under it you can see the nodemon here and the version. That is how to install dependencies and dev dependencies. Thank you for watching this session. Hello viewers, welcome back to this lesson. We are going to create the entry point of our application. To create the entry point of our application, just click on the new file here. You click on it to create a new file. I'm going to create app.js. So this starting point can be any file, guys. You can name it anything. Okay, you can name it index.js, server.js, whatever you want to name your entry point, but I prefer using app.js. Okay, press enter here. We're going to start our first server, and to do that we are going to require express. Const express equals to require. Now, require is a function that enables you to load module, guys. It allows you to load module. It is actually a function that actually allows you to load a module or import module that you install. Okay, so for example, we have installed Express here. We install Express, SQLite, and other modules, like the dependencies, and also nodemon here. So the require function actually enables you to load these modules, and they are already in the node modules folder here. Okay, you can also use it to load your own custom module. That is the one you created by yourself, that is within your application or your local system here. Okay, if you are loading a module or package from npm, what you need to do is just to type the name of the module that you install. In our own case, it is Express. So we just type it like this, Express. So it will load it here into this function. So if it is your own local file, you just type the directory of the file name that you have already created. You are going to see it in this course, okay, how to load your own module, because we are going to create our own module a lot in this course. Okay, so that is the require function. You use it to load the module or the package that you install through npm or your own custom module. To create the instance of our application, we need to call this express function. Const app equals to express. So you just call the function like this. When you call it like this, it is going to return the object that contain all the tools you need to work with the server. Okay, this app object contain all the features you need to create your server or to run your server application, like the http method, the route, middlewares, and many other features that are available within this app. So this is the overall. You just see this app as the overall of your application. Okay, now we need to listen to a port. I'm going to say app.listen. Here you need to specify the port you want to listen to. So for example, let's listen to port 3000, and it has a callback function. You need to pass a callback function. It is optional that return if there is error or not. Okay, so I'm going to pass a callback function like this. So I will be using a lot of arrow function, guys. Okay, So if you want to check the error, you can also get the error object from here. Okay, I'm going to log a message console.log server running on localhost, running on http/localhost port 3000. To run our server, we need to configure the package.json and add script to run our server. Here under the script section, we have a default script, test script, so we don't need it. Can actually remove it, but I'm going to add another script. Okay, I'm going to add another script, and it's going to be a start script. Start. Then the value is going to be node app.js. It means that it is going to start our app.js, which is our entry point, and this one is going to run in production mode. So when we deploy this our app to server, this is the script that is going to run. Okay, so we need to add the one for development mode, which we are going to use nodemon for testing. So I'm going to add another script, a dev is going to be nodemon app.js, like this. I have two scripts added. Start screen is for production mode, dev script is for development mode. Okay, now let's run our app now. So I'm going to terminal, open a terminal. Then I'm going to type npm start. So if you run npm start, it is going to run the start script, this one, node app.js. Okay, before you will see let's just run the node app.js. So you will see the difference between the dev and start mode. Okay, you can see that server running on HTTP port 3000, what we specify here. Okay, and the port is 3000. Let us visit this link now. Let me visit it on the browser. Okay, I just open it in the browser and you can see cannot get. So it means that the server is running, but it is trying to look for this route, which is our default home page. If it is hosted in a server, that is the default, your domain name. It is looking for this slash, but it is not getting it. So that's why you see cannot get. It is not actually an error, but is trying to access the location that doesn't exist. So how do we make this thing to be our default location? What we need to do now is go back. We need to make our get route. So we need to create a get slash route. Okay, so this route is going to be just like a home page. When you visit this link here, when you visit the domain of your website, you will just load serve the content you have here. So what I'm going to do now, use the app.get. So this is a HTTP method. So we are coming to all these things, guys. I'm just trying to get our server running, but all these things you are going to learn it. All the HTTP method we have, and we are going to learn it. Okay. So app.get. Then inside here, when you call the method, you need to pass the name. That the name is actually a string representing the route. Okay, so I'm going to put the slash. Then you pass a callback function. So I'm going to pass a callback function. Pass a callback function. The function is going to give you the request and the response like this. Okay, just like this. I'm using arrow function, guys. The request is going to allow you to access the request object, while the response is going to give you the response object as well. So from the response, you can use the response object to send data. So let's use the rest object to send a JSON file. So you just type res.send. So I need to pass an object that represents what I want to send. So for example, I can just send message. message server running. When you visit this slash, that means when you visit this route now, it's going to send this data. Okay, so let's check our browser now. Okay, let me refresh the browser. Okay, you can see as I refresh the browser, nothing happened. This is because I just made a change here. So I need to restart the server for it to work. Okay. To restart the server, I need to stop it. So I press Ctrl C to stop the server. Then I need to run it again, npm start. Then we're going to start again. So I just started. After making changes here, I need to restart the server. So let's go back to our browser and click. You see now it return the message server running. Okay, and it is a JSON file, guys. When you send a JSON file by using the send method, it is going to serve it as a JSON file. Okay, just like that. If I go back and make a change again, let's say I want to enter some success flag like this, success true, and save it. Now, for me to see the change, if I refresh, I still get this in because the server is just running. The change has not been implemented on the server. This is because I have to restart the server for me to see the change. That is when the nodemon come into place when you are developing. So instead of just using the start screen, let us be using the dev script that we have already written here, which is the dev script is nodemon app.js, this one. Okay, that is for development. Okay, so I'm going to stop the server now. I stop it. Now npm. Now if you are running anything other than start screen, you need to use run. Okay, so I need to type npm run dev. So you can see I'm using run here. This is because if you just type npm dev, it won't recognize the command. Okay, you need to type npm run dev, but for the start screen is default. Once you type npm start, it's going to run this one. Okay, so but for any other script apart from the start, you need to use run followed by the key, which is dev. Okay, so just like this, if I run it now you can see that the server is running, but this time around it is going to listen to any change I make to the server. So if I make a change here, like say user equals to do. If I save now, let me save it. You see now when I save it, it restarted the server. Okay, it means that if each time I make change, I don't need to manually restart the server. The nodemon is doing it behind the scene. So if I visit my URL now and refresh it, you can see it returned the JSON object. Let me go back. Okay, so we are just returning a JSON file. Okay, that is how to get your server running, guys. Just as simple as that. Just with a few lines of code, your server is already running. Okay. Okay, in the next lesson, we will continue exploring more features. Thank you for watching this session. Welcome back, guys. We are going to set up our project to use ES modules. Currently, you can see that I'm using the require function to import the module. Okay. But in modern JavaScript, you commonly use import and export. To make our project to use import and export, we need to configure the JSON file. But before then, let me try to use the import now without configuring it. So what I'm going to do here now, instead of require this function, I'm going to use import express from express. I just imported express from express instead of using they require. So let me save my work now and see. Okay, I even discovered new feature right now, guys. Before it used to throw error. You can believe me, if you are using Express 4, it's going to throw error here. I just discovered that in Express 5, it actually supported the import. Okay, that is kudos, guys. Express has allowed the feature of importing, using import and export. Okay, but there is some warning here, guys. There is some warning. It is working, but it is saying that to eliminate this warning, add type module to our package.json. So that is exactly what I wanted to show you, but not knowing that in Express 5, it is the first time I'm using Express version 5. Okay, it is the first project that I'm creating that it is using Express 5. If you are using Express 4, you would discover the error that I'm actually trying to eliminate. Okay, but nevertheless, we are still going to set it in our package.json. So what you need to do here is that after the main, that is at the root of the setting, so you need to type, you just type like this equals to module. You just type module. This will actually enables you to use the import and export in case if you are using Express 4. So but for in Express 5, they have allowed this feature by default, so there is no error now. So you can actually use import and export in Express 5, guys. Okay, but if you are using Express 4, you can still set this thing. You can still set it. Short, actually, it won't run in Express 4 without you setting the type module. So let me save my work now. You can see that the warning is no longer showing. So this warning that was showing here is no longer showing when I save and restarted the server. Okay. So now we can actually use the import and export instead of the old way of using required. Okay. So in the next video, we are going to continue creating our route. Thank you for watching.